when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
All right, and we're live. Welcome, everyone. This is the first WNBA stream we're going to do for props shows. And yeah, I think going forward, with the slates kind of small for WNBA, we're going to focus on when there's, at least 2+ games and try to rotate in different guests. But today we got our boy E Made It Happen, or Eric, joining us today for this, which looks like a good 4-game slate. How are we doing, Eric?
Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Good, man. Trying to catch up on everything because I think PrizePicks did us a favor on our first stream, giving us some new WNBA props today. Slowly releasing them. We got, what do we have? Free throws, turnovers, and first half props. Is that right?
Yeah, and points, 2 points and 3-pointers scored in the first 6 minutes, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, so they really dropped a lot on us last minute here in the last not even 2 hours.
Yeah. So some of them, since we didn't really account for this in our research, we'll try to touch on it, but probably just see how it goes today with these new props. But maybe there's some favorable ones we can go after. But yeah, I think what we'll do is go game by game and go over our favorite targets and try to come up with maybe a possible game script for each game. And yeah, I mean, 2 out of the 4 games have a pretty large spread, but then the other 2 somewhat decent spread and the higher implied totals. So we might want to focus in on a couple games and maybe we get some first half props on these potential blowouts and take advantage of having those new first half props. But yeah, let's dive right in. Let's start with Washington at Indiana. It's a 164 total and a 8-point spread for in favor of Washington. Only key news I found was that Bria Hartley might make her season debut for the Fever, Indiana. She's been out all season. It's the first time she's questionable. That's something we're gonna have to watch out for. I don't know how many minutes she would play. She actually plays if she'd come off the bench or start. So it's something to consider. But yeah, this is definitely a pace up spot for Washington. Indiana's second in pace, and Washington is actually last in pace. So maybe we can find some edge here with these Washington players who normally play at a very slow pace. Maybe Indiana pushes the pace on them and makes them play a little bit faster. I think one thing that stood out to us was the Dawn. She's her points in this matchup, pace up spot. Indiana is also 12th in points allowed in the paint, so they give up the most points in the paint. It's a very favorable matchup for her, but the blowout is the concern. Maybe we can get on some first half props for her. I was looking at the first half rotation for her, and it's kind of all over the place. Sometimes she will check out 3/4 way through the first quarter, maybe come back, and there's some spurts where she will miss the middle of the second quarter as well. But I think we could consider first half props for her. I know all the guys on our crew liked her point prop, and her fantasy is always live too because she will rack up the stats. And then Natasha Cloud, her assists are always live. She's one of the higher assist rate in the league. But the prop today it's bumped up to 6. It's what it's usually 5 and 5.5.
Yeah, around that 5 range, they've been kind of staying at.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I guess what is your lean on this game? Do you think it actually blows out? And do you think it's worth, if you do think it's gonna blow out, is it worth going with the first half props?
So there's always going to be some concern with Indiana. At least they're at home today,
Yeah.
and usually they play at least marginally better versus their home road splits. So I'm hoping that's going to take some consideration here that they keep the game close. But we do have Washington at full strength, and I believe Donnie, she hasn't played since last Tuesday, so she's going to be 100% ready to go for
Yeah.
this one. And going back to the first half rotations with her, so they're still monitoring her injury from last year,
Mhm.
coming back off of that. We saw her take a rest day this last week, and something that the coaches are kind of doing, if they're needing her out there to really help facilitate and score, they'll play her extended minutes for the first half. But if they get up or if they have some kind of a comfortable lead, it really depends on how much Shakira is in foul trouble.
Mhm.
We've really seen that they've kind of stepped back from Maisha, their normal forward, who was kind of standing in, really doing nothing. But now we have Shakira help run the offense with the starters, but she's been getting into some massive foul trouble in the last couple games. So the minutes are kind of skewed, and I really don't want people to read too much into how many minutes some of the starters are and or are not playing. So today we could see a team with extended rest really come back and have a good outing here. And honestly, it's going to be interesting to see some of these matchups with the slowest versus some of the fastest paced teams.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to be. And then one last little note for everybody that today is our first of a start of a back-to-back. So Indy plays tonight and they play tomorrow. So just small thing to know there. Keep an eye in the back of your head.
And where do they travel to?
Let's see. They travel to New York tomorrow.
Okay. That's not bad. Yeah. And then I guess someone that we've been targeting recently is Kennedy Burke, getting more involved with the offense, right? And PRA has been something we targeted for her. Um, I guess with her first half rotation, she's gonna probably get less minutes in the first half, and it's more sporadic coming off the bench now that Washington is fully healthy. You still like her?
Yeah, man. She's coming back. She sat out for a couple games here,
Yeah.
but they seem to want to have her with the starters. She has a lot of energy. We really high stock upside here. I believe in the last 3 games. Sorry, I'm trying to get somebody to clean out this spam. Whoever's doing that. Um, But yeah, Burke, coming back from these small stint injuries here, she's been doing really well, playing usually 25 to 28 minutes here, barring any foul trouble. The last 3 games alone, she's got 3, 2, and 2 stocks, so just does a little bit of everything. And I think a lot of what PrizePicks is doing is they don't have much previous season data to go off, so they're kind of taking some shots here in the dark, just putting props up here for us. And I think right now this is one that we can keep riding out until she either fails or they change it.
Yeah, yeah, and I built this lineup construction based on previous games, and I think I need to change Burke back to the bench and have Alicia starting, correct? So it would be Alicia Clark taking
Yeah.
her spot. So need to correct that here. I'll make a note. But yeah, I think I agree. I think her projections based on price picks have been much lower than her potential. Um yeah, so I guess on the Washington side, our probably our favorite play would be, I guess, yeah, Burke for PRA, and then should I'm kind of on the fence about Natasha's assists going up to 6 now, and I mean, but it's such a up pace spot, so there could be a lot more shot potential. Um, yeah, just a higher shot volume and more assist potential for her. So I'm kind of on the fence for her for assist prop.
I think it's in play, but nothing with a priority like that we've really made it out to be. And another kind of thing is with Donnie, she was out for basically every matchup in her history versus Indiana. I think she has a game and a half or 1 game of full game total. So there's a lot of mystery in what exactly is going to happen in this because honestly, we don't know. We saw she had a pretty great performance to start the year. I believe the opening game for them and had a pretty ceiling outing there, but really, I think this is just another one that it may not be a comfortable click, but maybe Prize Picks isn't up to the data that's going to back it up, and we can take advantage of that.
Yeah, I agree. And then on Indiana's side, I think we were talking about and targeting Alyssa for her props. Particularly, I mean, did they give us a free throw prop for her? Wow, 1.5. That's pretty low, especially if she's going to be going against Shakira, who can get a little bit foul happy, and she's averaging on the season about 4 free throw attempts per game. That's definitely interesting. I could maybe consider that. Yeah, it's always I want to see how it goes with these free throw props for the WNBA.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
I think we can get behind her PRA or fantasy. I mean, she's averaging only 1 stock on the season and around 27 fantasy points, and they got her at 24. But her PRA is at only 19.5, and she's averaging way higher than that. And yeah, I mean, she should be right there, second leading in field goal attempts. I guess the only concern, yeah, it would be the blowout here.
Yeah, definitely. And she's coming back from an injury as well. A lot of these home teams tonight are actually a little banged up or were. But for her scoring, she's a really well-rounded player for the team, and a lot of her point at least point attempts have been coming half through free throws and half through just open field shots. So there's definitely a couple paths that she could get there on either of those props. But I really love the either blanket over the PRA or the fantasy score. Just she's
Yeah.
going to play probably that many minutes and roughly just under a point per minute player. So looks good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like her too. I think if we're worried about the blowout, we could consider first half fantasy at 12. Um,
Yeah,
and just
definitely.
hope that Indiana playing at home comes out with energy early on, and they're thriving in the first half, and then possible that Washington pulls away in the third quarter. something like that. That type of game script. So yeah, I would get behind that, either her full game fantasy or her first half. And then maybe more fringe would be her free throw 1.5. It's pretty low. And then I haven't really considered anybody else on Indiana just because of the game script and game environment. I think Nalissa would probably be my only primary target, unless you had anybody else in mind.
Yeah, probably just Nylissa, honestly. The only small concern that I have, just going back and looking at her rotations from at least this last outing, she played 6 minutes to open the game and then sat through the rest of the first, and it looks like about 3 minutes into the third or into the second. She checked in and played for about 4 minutes and then checked out for the rest of the half, basically. So some concern there, at least just with the rotations. But if we get a close enough game here, I mean, I think at least 24, 25 minutes, she should clear it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just checking. You're looking at
Their
the most
rotations.
recent game
Yeah.
against LA. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it'll change. Maybe it'll start ramping up. All right. Yeah, I think yeah, so one key thing is that Indiana also allows the most free throw attempts in the league. So they're 12th in free throw attempts. So could be a lot of fouls go around. And you see like Atkins is pretty high up in free throw attempts. Her average free throw attempts at 3.2 in the season, and then Donnie's at 3.7. And I assume we have props for them, free throw props.
Yeah, we should. Or do they not give us that?
They did not.
Ah.
For Atkins, at least. All right, 2.5. It's kind of risky if the game blows out, and you want, with free throws, I feel like you want a full game, feel really good about it. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's probably our 3 current targets from that game, and we can just head on over to the next one. Phoenix at Chicago is another game with the high blowout potential. It's a 9-point spread in favor of Chicago Sky. It's only a 163 implied total. And yeah, Phoenix is getting somewhat healthier. Sophie Cunningham's returning from COVID, as well as Petty. So this could change up some rotations and minutes. But yeah, I mean, the Phoenix is like, I feel like the Houston Rockets of WNBA. They run a very fast pace and they don't play good defense. They don't rebound well. So it's very favorable to attack them. The only thing is, Chicago, and they're playing really well, they could easily run away with this one. So maybe this is definitely one to look at for first half props. One thing I noticed with Chicago is that Candace is playing a lot out at the 3-point line and letting Vandersloot play more in the paint to start the season. I'm sure this will change later on, and maybe even towards playoffs. But I think that is a boost for Vandersloot's like PRA and rebounding as well. So something to keep in mind. And then, yeah, I mean, Candace, she's she's gonna chuck it from 3, and she's gonna play make as well. Yeah, we got to worry about blowout here. Let's take a look at her first half props. What do we have? I mean, it's a really prime matchup for her.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yes.
that those two players, you can compare them really close to Asia Wilson and Hamby, that duo. Sometimes it seems like one's playing center all night and the other one's
Yeah.
playing the guard, and they just flip the roles. So it's very, very dangerous duo there.
Yeah. Totally agree. Yeah, and then Copper is now, starting to get back in the mix. She's missed the first part of the season. She's definitely helping the offense out, I feel like. But yeah, it's just another mouth to feed. So I mean, what do we think it's worth taking a full game dice roll? Because I mean, we want exposure to this matchup against Phoenix. I really like Vandersloot's rebound opportunity here. I also like her PRA, and then Candace could always get with her points or her fantasy. But if we're worried, I guess we would just cut it in half. What's your lean on this, or do you have a top play you like?
Yeah, so this game could definitely blow out here. We've got the fourth fastest pace versus the seventh, but number 9 offense versus Chicago, who's at actually 4-4 for the offense and defense. Chicago kind of started off a little rocky this year, but I think that they're kind of really putting things together, and getting Cooper back or Copper back is a really huge part of the offense.
Yeah,
Um, they just didn't really seem like they had a go-to guard. Sometimes we had Emma having a night, or it was Stevens coming off the bench or starting. But now we're really seeing that Vandersloot and Parker are getting that connection going again. Um, and it seems like a lot of the times they trade off for one stat to the other. Like Vandersloot will step into the rebounding, and her assist will slide, where Parker's assist will pick up, and one of the other guards are just a playmaker for the night. Um, my only concern is I haven't seen any of the guards or anybody, honestly, outside of Parker a couple of times that have really impressed me in scoring. And
yeah.
I guess that's my biggest concern is everyone struggling to hit that 10-point plus marker on a nightly basis. And if Phoenix can actually step in and show up today and hit some threes, I mean, they're going to destroy them.
Oh, you think if Phoenix gets hot, they can pull off the upset?
Yeah, if they do,
Yeah,
Chicago's been struggling against the three ball a little bit.
yeah,
Their pick and roll defense hasn't really been the best, and Phoenix is
yeah.
not afraid to shoot the three from that. So there's a little bit of concern, but honestly, Phoenix has been in line for a bounce back any day now, and it's bound to happen. So I think honestly we get a full game here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I mean, yeah, that's a good point about Phoenix. I mean, they lead the league in 3-point attempts. They're gonna chuck it. And a team that, if a team gets hot from three, doesn't matter who they're playing, the best team in the league, they have a fighting chance. So yeah, you're just rolling the dice and hoping that Phoenix can bounce back and get hot from three. And if you think that, then yeah, I mean, all those primary shooters and Skylar and Diamond are definitely in play. Yeah, it's just I find it hard choosing between the two. Kind of reminds me of like a Tatum Jaylen Brown dilemma, but I kind of lean always towards Skylar for her fantasy points because she does so much for the offense, and especially when Tarasi is like struggling or not doing anything, I feel like Skylar just takes over like the point guard role and playmaking role and scoring role. So I usually go to her for fantasy to fill the stat line. But yeah, Diamond can get hot as well. And then yeah, Tina, I guess her rebound props pretty much right at that line for her. Wouldn't feel comfortable with that. Yeah, all her lines are pretty spot on, I feel like. So yeah, for me, I would probably just consider Skylar Diamond. And I don't know about Tarasi, man. I feel like the few nights we've been playing her, she's just been a letdown. But like you said, this could be a bounce back spot, and she's definitely due.
Yeah. For Phoenix, my favorite plays were I had Skylar Smith, her PRA. Actually, I was going to go that route just because she's been getting a few more turnovers lately than her normal. So I'm not sure what's
She's
going on
averaging
with that.
3.2 on the season. It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
I mean,
I'm not sure. I have no idea what's going on with that. So I feel a little safer with the
yeah,
PRA,
I
but
I feel like it's just when someone who's trying to do it all, just naturally will inherently have those turnovers. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
And a small nudge to the fantasy side, though, she has been seeing her more recently. Her assist category is back to where it should be. I know we were really hyped up on Tarasi as being like the assist person to start the
Mhm.
year, but it typically kind of levels out between Skylar and Tarasi. So we're actually seeing Skylar at her normal levels right now, and it's probably a pretty good chance that she's going to continue to keep doing that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Tarasi was just is fine living with the 3 ball and just chucking it. It seems like a lot. So she won't even look to play make a lot of times, and especially when Phoenix is trailing a lot, and then she'll just try to get him back in with the 3 ball.
Yeah, she had 6 turnovers the other night when she was trying to facilitate, and it was
Yeah,
horrible.
yeah. I mean, maybe she's hit the CP3 wall. I don't know, but it's early in the season. It's hard to say.
And then real fast from
Yeah.
Chicago, I had Clea. Her rebounding was only at 3.5. They actually bumped it back down. It was at 4 or 4.5. So I really like that for Chicago. And then Vandersloot, her rebound or just a flat blanket on the fantasy.
Yeah, is Vandersloot's rebound still at 3.5?
Yeah, it is.
I
Or
I
was the
re-
last time I checked it?
yeah, I had that marked down. I
Yeah, three
really
and a half.
I really like that too. But I mean, she's gonna do it all. So, but yeah, but her rebounding is definitely spiking. The more she's playing in the paint with Candace stretching out. Yeah, so I had that marked for her as well, and her PRA. And then you said you liked Copper's rebound as well.
Yeah, her rebounding. We knew, like we just talked about, the 3-point shooting from Phoenix. So if there's going to be more rebounding opportunity to go out, and her history average versus Phoenix is actually 5.2 rebounds. So I'm seeing a huge glaring gap there.
Okay, I fixed it. I had 1.4, 1.5. Okay, yeah. So on this spreadsheet, I have the middle column is what the props are on PrizePicks, the actual props, and then these are their season averages, and then I'm on the left, and then on the right is the differential, subtracting the props from their season average. And I just highlight in green anything above like 2 for any prop that's not fantasy points. Yeah, yeah, Copper. Yeah, definitely agree with you on Copper being more important and involved in this offense. I wonder if her assist rate will go up at all the more she's incorporated into the offense. Um, I've been playing it recently, and it's barely getting there, but something to keep in mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, okay, cool. So yeah, we have. So did you like Diamond, or were you just sticking with Skylar?
Diamonds. She's not bad. I mean, we're seeing her props slowly creep up a little bit higher.
They
Um,
are, yeah.
Did we mention about somebody possibly coming back for Phoenix? I know there was a little pause in the Discord about playing Diamond today.
Sophie's. Yeah, I mentioned that. Sophie Cunningham is returning from COVID, and Shea Petty's returning from COVID.
Petty, yeah, I think that's the big. We really need to see the starting line here, who they're going to
Yeah,
roll with.
yeah. So I'm gonna hold off on marking her right now. But yeah, probably just stick with Skylar, PRA or fantasy, and then we have Vandersloot rebound or PRA. We'll go ahead and highlight these here, and then Candace, we'll just go fantasy full game.
Yeah, yeah, I liked her fantasy or BRA.
All right. Oh, and let me mark Copper rebound. All right. Yeah, I think I think I think I might do a card with like Candace's first half fantasy just in case, and then just have her full game in a different card just to hedge my bets in case it blows out and Phoenix shoots really bad from 3.
Yeah,
So that, what is that, 14.5? Yeah, I could get behind that. Okay.
So we got a super chat. Let's see, got a super chat from Flo174. A little shout out and thank you. Hey, we appreciate that, buddy. Always in here chopping it with us in Discord.
Yeah, guns right. I might have to pull out the old notepad. Hopefully, you guys can see this, and we'll compile it at the end. Our top plays out of the whole slate. But yeah, let's go ahead and move to the next one. So this one has the highest implied total. Still a decent spread at 5. Favor Las Vegas. Yeah, I mean these are two really good teams in my opinion. I mean Las Vegas they're humming. I mean on offense, they're just
They are
on
dangerous.
fire. Yeah, Plum and Young are just shooting lights out, especially from 3. But you know they're always due for regression at some point. But yeah, they're on a heater. It's not the best matchup against Connecticut, who can buckle down on defense and slow down teams when they want to. So you know it's not the ideal game environment for him, and it looks like PrizePicks is somewhat adjusting to this hot streak that Plum and Jackie are on. Bumping their points are up to 16.5 each. But I mean, yeah, I mean they're just playing so well. When Kelsey gets to that left hand, I notice, and she does that step back 3, it's just like unstoppable.
Yeah, it's hard and level.
Yeah, she's playing really well, and she has that killer instinct. You can see it. Yeah, and then Jackie's, she's shooting lights out from 3 as well. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if you wanna, it is the high supply total on the slate, and if you wanna ride that hot streak and that train, then I get it for Plum and Young. One thing I didn't put on here were their 3-point props. Let's see what they're at.
I know Plum's at 2.5. I think that's all we got. Yeah, just the one.
They didn't give us Jackie.
No, I was hoping they would give us either Young or Gray. Honestly, she hit a couple threes last out too.
Yeah, and they're playing really well. Okay. Yeah. Something to think about if you don't want to target her higher lines for Plum. Yeah, and then so Wilson, we were kind of talking about this earlier. So she's averaging 5.6 free throw attempts on the season. And we all know that JJ, Jackwell Jones, she can rack up the fouls and get into foul trouble pretty quickly. So yeah, Wilson could thrive on the free throw line tonight. They have her. Yeah, see, they're accounting for this. They were bumped up to 3.5. It's probably the highest free throw prop I've seen so far on these new WNBA free throw props. But it makes sense because yeah, JJ will foul. But yeah, it's a tough matchup for Wilson. But I mean, she's so productive. She could still target her in a tough matchup. But maybe that free throw prop would be the way that I would lean because all our other lines are so high. And then I think you know Heidemann, she's really showing that she can step in and you know take over this 1-2 guard role, and she's really, I mean, she's playing well. I think everyone's really surprised by that. So I think her lines are not fully getting there, adjusted by PrizePicks yet. So it might be a time where she's kind of a player where there's not much data on her yet, where we can take advantage of lower lines. And I was thinking just, throwing a blanket with either the fantasy or the PRA, because she's shooting well from 3. She gets, she play makes at times. Her passing has been really good and on point. And her defense is solid. She's racking up stocks as well. Las Vegas plays at the fastest pace, so that's even more probably steal potential for her, more turnover opportunities. And then I think she will thrive in a fast-paced environment. Because Connecticut, they can play fast when they want to, and they play faster teams. Although they normally play at the second lowest pace, but they can definitely play faster with Courtney and Heidemann running the ball. So I'm kind of leaning her fantasy point just because of her stock upside. And then Alyssa Thomas always in play to fill the stat line. But I think out of all of them, Heidemann was probably the one stood out to me the most. How about you?
Yeah, she's now seeing a lot more minutes with. I was trying to find who the player that tore her ACL.
Oh, Jones? Was it
Yeah,
Jones?
Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. I heard that she only missed like 7 games in her entire career until prior to that injury.
Yeah, and she's been with the team for a long time too. And just brutal injury, and I hate that for anybody. But team's got to move on, so we've got Heidemann stepping in.
They really like her, the coaching staff. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's definitely getting minutes here, and even in some of these games with the blowout, like the second game against Dallas, they lost by 31, and she still played over 30 minutes. So we're really seeing that she's getting. I feel like they're acclimating her more to the offense in the starting unit,
Yeah.
so she's at least going to get that extra nudge for some kind of blowout or extra run in case things go sideways.
Yep.
But they also like to go with a hot hand here as well. Sometimes it could be Courtney,
Yep.
Courtney Williams, or Bonner whenever she comes in and actually does stuff. But this is one team that's just kind of they're so good, like
They
from
are.
top to bottom, and it's so hard to get the warm and fuzzies. But I do really like Alyssa Thomas, though. I'm there with you.
Yeah.
Either her points or PRA fantasy are just way, way too low. And this matchup is actually something that we've had pretty in-depth data on because they met in the postseason for, I believe, the semifinals 2 years ago. So these two teams got a lot of history.
Mhm.
It's going to be one of the fastest versus the slowest pace. I hate that Vegas is at home because, man, they play so good at home. Only concern for that, but we should get a pretty solid game here. For the most part, a lot of theirs have been pretty close down to the wire, or at least 3 full quarters of action.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on Alyssa, and yeah, I hope it, like you said, I hope it stays close. Because yeah, it's the high supply total, and you have the fastest team in Las Vegas, so hopefully it turns into a shootout. But yeah, so I've been watching the Connecticut games, and you're right. I mean, Courtney and Heidemann, they switch off point guard roles. And a lot of times when Courtney's running point, Heidemann has more opportunity to make a 3 off the wing and get it done with her scoring. But she, like I said, her passing is really improving and has looked good. Her assist is only 2.5. That's something I might consider if we don't want to go with her 18 fantasy points. But yeah, it's risky with Courtney in the mix, who's such a good distributor and just stat filler guard. And she's the best rebounding guard in the WNBA as well. But yeah, they definitely juice Courtney's props since the last few games because of how well she's been playing. I believe her PRA has been, down to 16 to 18, and now it's all the way up to 20.5 today. So they've really adjusted her lines since this hot streak she's been on for the last few games. So I'm a little more hesitant on her. I feel like her lines are pretty spot on for her role and what she's been doing lately. And because her rebounds and assists are like right there at the line that would probably make it a push. So that's why I'm leaning more towards Heidemann and just lower lines, and I feel like they haven't adjusted those. And then Alyssa, let's probably just throw a blanket and go with her fantasy. She also gets to the free throw line at a very high rate. I think she's averaging 5.4 free throw attempts on the season. And she also turns it over at a very high rate.
Yeah, I was
So,
about to say
what do they have her turnover prop at? 2.
too. I think that is like the lock of the day. If I'm being honest here, that's
Yeah.
just
I was
crazy
gonna say,
low.
yeah, fast-paced game, more turnover opportunity. Yeah. So do you like that more than her fantasy?
Man, it's close. Just if we're going off of metrics, yes, her prop's only at 2, and her current season average is almost 3.5. So we're getting a lot of cushion on that. At least I like the 2 turnovers just because that should be an easy, safe push, but probably fairly high chance for a win rate.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So I might get exposure to it in one card and then her fantasy in another card. And then Bonner played really well recently, but I'm still not fully on board. They adjusted her lines as well. Just because, like you said, they have so many bodies that can get it done. So I'm probably just gonna stick with Alyssa and Heidemann props for now. And then Brianna Jones still coming off the bench.
She is still playing mid to high, or probably mid to max 28 minutes off the bench, but
Yeah.
extremely productive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They actually bumped her points down. It was at 11.5 last game, and it went back to 10.5, and she cleared it.
Yeah. All right. Consider that.
Not a priority, but maybe
Yeah.
somewhere on the board.
All right. So from this game, I'm marked down. Let's see. Let's go ahead. Mark Alyssa, fantasy point, and
Turnovers.
And then I'm going to nominate Heidemann. Tisha.
Yeah, Heidemann's props are just way too low. That PRA has been staring at me.
Yeah. I like the PRA too, but her defense has been so solid. I just feel like with this turnover prone game and the pace it's going to be run at. Yeah, I guess coin flip. We can do a slash. Let me
Either or. She probably hits one, she hits the other.
Okay. And then I guess for Las Vegas, we talked about if we wanted to chase Plums and Jackie's shooting, but I don't have a strong feel on it, unless you do.
From Vegas?
Yeah.
Not really. The only kind of warm and fuzzies that I had from this game was really Chelsea Gray. I think just a blanket over fantasy score. They got it at 26 right now, and she's playing almost 30 minutes a night. So that's something that's going to be a fairly easy line to stay on top of. And she's coming back from injuries, so some of her previous props really haven't been aligned with where they should be.
Okay. Sounds good. And then Wilson, we talked about her free throws.
Yeah, or first half props, I think.
Okay. Yeah. See if Vegas keeps playing this well or shooting this well. Yeah, it feels like PrizePicks is just daring you to choose between Plum and Young, putting them both at 16.5 points. Like which one's gonna stay hot or not. So
Yeah, Plum and Young, they're the typical two that will get regular game run, like regardless of game script.
yeah.
So those are probably more on the safer side, but their props are a little bit more juiced.
Yeah.
But going back to Gray, she's the one who fluctuates between the close and the blowout games. If it's close, she's playing over 30 minutes, but we've seen so many blowouts in the last 3 out of 5. She's not even getting her full run from that. So one of those probably an area to attack if this game stays close.
Okay, down with that. Yeah, it's just like I said, I just don't like attacking the Suns or Connecticut defense because they can lock down. So that's why I'm not like fully on board with a lot of the Vegas players because I would like to target Hamby fantasy points or PRA, but yeah, I'm just not feeling super confident when going against the Suns.
No comfortable clicks today on this matchup.
Yeah, two really good teams. All right, so we can go to the late night hammer then. This one is 166 total. And this is the lowest spread on the slate. We have a 3-point spread in favor of LA Sparks. Yeah, so I mean, I think there's some exploitable targets here, holes on each team that we can go for here. Overall, LA has not been playing the best defense. They have the third worst defensive rating, and they're fouling at a very high rate too. They're third in most free throws allowed. While Dallas is so up and down. I've been watching their games and going back in the game film. It's like they have these moments where they really shine and they're playing really well on offense and pushing the pace and then they can clamp down on defense, and then all of a sudden they just stop playing defense and the pace really slows down, and yeah, they just will fall behind by the third quarter and start to lose control of the game. Um, I don't know. Maybe the first half probably go because they seem to play really well in the first half, especially defensively. But yeah, you can see their pace. They're third and slowest team in the league. And yeah, it's weird because, like I said, at times they do try to push the pace and play fast. But I mean, with that said, I think I think there's some offensive players here we can go for against the Sparks. Alicia Gray is always live for her shooting, especially her 3-point shooting. We all know. Enrique too, with her shooting, she can get hot. And then yeah, Thornton can spread the team out and get hot from 3 as well. So all these shooters are up and down, like I said, but they can get hot a lot like Phoenix. I'm probably gonna lean Gray for her either her points or her fantasy points. And then I mean, because she's a very solid defender too. I think was she defensive player of the year last year, or was maybe a candidate?
Yeah, she was a candidate.
Yeah,
I don't believe she was the defensive player though.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Then I remember. Yeah, she was a candidate then. But yeah, I mean, she's averaging 2.5 stocks on the season, so it makes me like her fantasy points. Yeah, that's probably the one that stood out to me. And then maybe get yeah, I'm worried about the forwards and the front court getting into foul trouble with Liz down there in the paint. So might stay away from them. Players like Harrison, but yeah, I'm leaning Alicia Gray mainly from Dallas side. We'll start with Dallas. So what are your favorite plays for Dallas?
Yeah. So right there with you on Gray. Her, I think just a blanket over the fantasy is
Yeah,
probably the way to go today. But I did have a slight nudge towards her 3 points and a rebound.
makes sense. I mean, that's what she thrives in, right?
Right. And they just won't move her 3 point attempts. They moved it one game, and I think she hit 3 of them, and then they bumped it up to 2, and then they just put it right back down to 1.5. So she's always live to hit at least 2 threes every game. But she's really carrying a lot of the weight for the team here, and we do have Satu back, Salby, but she's been in some massive foul trouble. So a player you can maybe take some shots on, but honestly, I'm not going there today. Really, I just have an interest in Kayla Thornton for her PRA.
Mhm.
They She barely missed it this last outing, and she just shot absolutely terrible. So I think this is something. She actually was 5 for 5 leading up to that game, so you can't see it on the extra part on Prize Picks, but she's actually cleared this in the last 5 out of 6 games. So I want to go right back to there, and all she needs to do is just hit a couple shots here and there.
Okay. Um, and then was there anyone else? Are we sticking with just Gray and?
Not with any kind of confidence, honestly. Um,
I'm with you. I mean, Dallas is very hard to figure out, in my opinion. Um, maybe it's just like early season figuring stuff out, and they have potential. I feel like to be a really good team.
Definitely. And Dallas is kind of middle of the pack on offense and defense. The injury and the foul situation has been kind of playing head games with us a little bit because we got Satu back, had a massive outing her first game back, and then she was in foul trouble definitely for the next two, but I believe the next 3 games
Yeah,
after that.
yeah.
So rotations have been a little bit all over the place, but I think honestly here in the next 2 weeks we'll see this team actually have their form, and they're always a contender for the postseason, and probably just knocking off some of the rust here and figuring it out.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, so that last game, you brought up a good point I want to mention. Dallas cannot stop fouling the Suns in the paint. I think Satu was in foul trouble against Jones, and then I believe Harrison got into foul trouble,
Yep.
and they had to bring in like third string help. Yeah, and Jones was just eating in the paint. That's why I kind of like Big Liz Bay today. I mean, this is a prime matchup for her where we know she can get to the free throw line at a very high rate, and if Dallas keeps fouling like this and plays a very similar game as the last game against the Suns, I think Liz can really thrive scoring and her free throws. So yeah, switching over to the Sparks, I really like Liz for her points. Still only at 12.5. And then her free throws are at 3.5. So it's right there. I think she's averaging 5.7 attempts, and then I think she's averaging around 4.5 made on the season. I think she's right up there in one of the league leaders in free throw attempts per game. So yeah, I think we could definitely consider her free throw prop, but I might just lean with the real points because I think Dallas they continue to struggle defending the paint. They are second to last in points in the paint, so they give up the second most points in the paint. So I could get behind that. I think that's a prime target for me. And then the second note before I hand it off to you on what your favorite plays are, but I've been monitoring Carter coming off the bench, and I was wondering when Fisher was going to let her actually come in and start, because she was so efficient off the bench and was scoring and playmaking, and she showed it with her first start last game. She had a really efficient game. So, do we have props for her yet?
No, not yet. I was hoping we would.
Yeah, I guess it's because Canada is still questionable and Lexi Brown's still questionable. I think they're both game time decisions, so that's probably what PrizePicks is waiting on. Because there is a possibility that I guess if both Lexi and Jordan play, that Carter would go back to the bench. But I mean, they should still give us a prop for like a bench player. But I would definitely be interested, maybe because I'm assuming that PrizePicks won't adjust her line. If they do give us props for Carter, I assume they won't adjust her lines. because there's not much data on her. So that would be like a second target for me. And then yeah, Nike is always live and so productive. Yeah, so I mean, I might get access to two Sparks players today, and especially with the late night hammer. If you're doing like a later card in the night, like the last two games or something like that, definitely like the Sparks side. So I'm gonna rank Liz for mine for the points, and then what do you like the most from the Sparks?
Yeah, right there with you with Liz. She's actually number one leading the league in free throws,
Yep.
just ahead of Kelsey Plum. So definitely, I think her points or fantasy should be live. Man, I don't know about the fantasy. She's been throwing some hands lately.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been on the cusp of getting ejected a couple times and making us have a real sweat.
Yeah.
So maybe not quite so much on the fantasy side, but the points, free throws, first half points definitely. But points in PRA I think are live for a good outing here, and she should be able to rock the Dallas front court.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Is
my
Sykes back and playing? She missed last game, correct?
I believe so. They had a bunch of people out for that one. Just checking it real fast.
Yep.
Now she Brittany Sykes, right? Yeah, she played 2 nights ago.
Okay.
So she's been coming off the bench for the last 3 games. I truly believe that they're going to stick with Katie Lou for the starting unit again.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's what Fisher should do, but who knows with him, right?
Yeah.
Gosh, it's coaching decisions sometimes really makes me scratch my head and wonder how he's still head coach. But no, I agree. It would make sense for her to remain in the starting lineup. But let's say that if one of Jordan or Lexi are out, do you think Carter remains in the starting lineup?
Man, she's my question mark right now. I feel like the Cambridge, Nika, and Katie Lou are pretty set in stone. And right now they're just trying to figure out how they want to play out between Sykes, Brown, and X player coming off the bench or starting. I think this might be something we need to really caution pre-locking our cards. If you're going to take any of these secondary pieces outside of them, you might want to wait until we get confirmed lineups.
Yeah, and we probably won't get that till much. Probably when all three of the other games are finished, right?
All right.
Yeah, so probably just want the primary pieces then. And speaking of the primary pieces, what do we want to throw a blanket and go with fancy points for Nike?
Yeah, that was my favorite prop for her. Rebounding was a close second or a distant second, but I really liked her fantasy score today. She should just kind of do it all.
Yeah, she's so efficient. And then did you have a favorite Katie prop?
Yeah, I still liked her. Honestly, PRA or the fantasy, they only moved her PRA up, I believe, a half a point from the last game, and her fantasy went up by 1 point.
Okay. Do you shoot? Man, it's with Derek Fisher. He said, I mean, it's still risky playing her in the full slate card with all 4 games because there's a range of outcome where Jordan and Lexi both play and Katie loses out on key minutes.
It's definitely possible. Some caution in that for sure. We could just stick with the first half props for LA if we're worried about any of that.
I mean, the spread's very low. It's only 3-point spread. I think this one has probably the best potential to stay close, especially if Dallas can just stay consistent. Yeah, but I do like stacking this game, running like Alicia Gray and running it back with like a Liz or Nike, and just hope it shoots out. Because that's how it would go. Especially for Dallas side, I feel like Alicia getting hot from 3, racking up points, and Enrique too for Dallas. So I think all those combos and stacks are definitely in play. And I mean, like you said, Liz will rack up fouls. I mean, Sparks are third in most free throws allowed. There any free throw props we could consider? Harrison, Enrique, and Alicia all around 3.5.
Let's see.
So 2 for Enrique. Wow, 1.5. It's pretty low.
For Gray, yeah.
Yeah. For someone who's gonna ball handle so much and take so many shots. Thorn's at 1.5. Yeah, I mean those are all I think could be considered.
Probably, I think Gray, just because she'll drive a little bit more. Either Gray or Thornton, one of the two.
Yeah, I mean, they're all sitting right on 3.5 attempts per game. Enrique, she'll play the mid game too at times. She definitely likes the 3-point jumper though. Man, what happened in this Phoenix game? 10.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Maybe it was an icing. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, it's only 3-point spread. If this game goes down to the last minute or so, and we get fouls to ice, play in favor too.
Yeah, I'd probably just Enrique and Alicia.
Yeah.
Since they're going to be the playmakers anyways.
Yep. All right. So should we go over our top plays and give the crew a potential card to go with?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it here. So we can each maybe do 2 and do like give them like a 4 power play.
Yeah, we could do that. Have a nice 4 games, 4 plays.
Yeah, let's do it. So I'll just make the list right here. You want to go first?
Nah, I'll let you lead it out this one.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I am gonna go with I really like I said, Liz's points. So I'm gonna nominate that. 12.5. And then I'm on the fence. I want Vandersloot's PRA or rebound or Heideman's fantasy.
I was waiting on you to say that.
I'll do that because I know you probably want to go Alyssa, which is also a great play. But if you don't go with Vandersloot, we can put her as a 5th because I do like her.
I guess that depends on which side of Connecticut you want. I really like her Alyssa's 2 turnovers.
Oh, right. Yep. Actually, I'm just gonna pick it here. Just build the actual card. Go Liz. All right. And your fourth?
And my fourth, so we got Alyssa turnover, and I'm gonna go on the other side and run it back with Gray Fantasy at 26.
You said Chelsea Gray, right?
Yeah.
All right. And then I think bonus little top it off play. I think we can go with Vandersloot's 3.5 rebounds. And if you don't want to do a 5 flex, maybe you can just swap one of these in and out and to make it a 4. Yeah, I think it's kind of where we're at right now. Any news before we go? And I guess we can answer questions.
Let me just refresh the injury page here, see if we got anything else.
Yeah, I'll go through the questions here. Okay. Gunn said Josh is still in 1970 with one monitor. No, man. So I'm not in my usual studio today because I had to come to work for some meetings. So hopefully most of the time we'll be in my actual stream setup. But yeah, we'll go over questions right now. So what did we miss besides the porn bot?
Let's see. Emerson's asking about Burke's PRA. We still like it? I think it's still in play.
Yep. Corey said Sykes fantasy points if Lexi and Canada sit. Yeah, I mean, probably I assume will still come off the bench, but she's been productive off the bench and she's well known for racking up the stocks. So I think her block plus steal prop's always pretty popular.
Let's see what else we got.
All right, Cowboy asked Stevens and Parker fantasy. Stevens fantasy score. So we talked about Parker. Love the matchup. Perfect prime spot. The only concern is the blowout. So we mentioned that if you're worried about that, go with the first half fantasy. But if you think Phoenix can get hot from 3 and drain their threes, that they're gonna take a lot of them. So then you can go with definitely Candace's fantasy points are in play too. I would have been a top prop I would have added to the list. It's just I'm hesitant with that spread and Chicago being at home against Phoenix, who can easily get cold and fall way behind.
Yeah.
And then Stevens. Did we talk about Steven much? I can't remember.
0 from Chicago.
I believe so.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
She's definitely still live. So we've seen recently with Copper coming back that Stevens has gone back to the bench, but she is their 6th man, or yeah, whatever phrasing that may be now. So she's the first to come off the bench, and last game she, I believe, had a push for her PRA prop. She just couldn't get any kind of shots, man. They weren't passing her the ball, and she was really just getting there in some of the rebounding. So
what about her? I noticed I looked at her game flow chart. What about her first half prop, especially if you think it's gonna blow out? I noticed she gets some second quarter minutes with Vandersloot and others on the bench, like key players on the bench, and so she can really rack up stocks and fill the stat line.
yeah, definitely.
They have her 8.5.
Oh, that's not bad. Was that first half?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's even with the full game prop. They have her at 17. I mean, I liked it honestly. She plays a huge stint when she checks in, basically for the rest of the first quarter and a good segment of the second quarter.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of that just depends on if they need scoring, then they'll shift around a couple of the other pieces and she'll lose out on some of the shooting potential. But if the unit's actually running cohesively like they should be, a lot of the times she'll step in for a couple shots here and there, but the opportunity is actually there, and that's something that was really kind of lackluster this last game is they just were not passing her the ball.
Against Vegas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I saw that too.
refused to pass her the ball.
But I mean, she does play this huge, like I said, this huge stint in the start of the second quarter with Vandersloot, Messi, and even Copper on the bench. Candace is still out there, but I feel like it's still a lot of opportunity for her.
Yeah, definitely.
I like the matchup too. Uh, yeah, I mean, she's like you said, I mean, she's made a couple buckets in that second quarter stint, but she really got it done on the glass and blocks. It's kind of like a Robert Williams first half play.
Yeah, definitely.
Not necessarily gonna get you all the buckets, but can definitely get it done with the other peripheral stats. I mean, the PRA could be there, but like you said, I'm worried about if she's not involved in the offense and scoring, like you said. Probably a good point. Probably, I mean, the fantasy only 1.5 more. Probably want to incorporate those blocks, but that block potential there.
Yeah, she could grab 2 blocks or 2 stocks in the first half, and you're sitting
Yeah,
pretty.
yeah. Okay, so let's definitely add that to the list. It's a good question, but thank you for reminding me about her because I did not have her since she's a bench player. Did not have her in the starting lineup.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have a lot more of these props chopped down for you guys. PrizePicks really just dropped a ton on us today in the last 3 hours, and I don't think we were expecting any of this.
No, that was awesome, man. They knew we were debuting our WNBA stream today, so they threw it out for us. And lastly, to finish off, we got Cowboy asking about Marbury. I don't think we mentioned her or went over her. She definitely burned us recently.
Yeah, earlier last week,
She
middle of the
just
week.
she just like talk about like not involved at all, kind of game scripted out, and then lost out on minutes. But I did have her marked down last night as a potential target, especially for her PRA. So yeah, I mean she doesn't get many stocks, but she will fill a stat line with her assists and rebounds. So I would say this like a mid tier play in a Dallas Sparks stack, especially for a late night card. And then last question, Emma Blocksteel.
Is it Emma?
Are you talking about?
Assuming,
Yeah, Messerman. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. So she is averaging on the season. Where'd that game go? I mean, 2.7 stocks, block plus steal. They only have her at 1.5, so yeah, it's a good call out.
Yeah, probably mid lower tier.
Yeah. And then last one, Jabari asks, what do you guys think about Jackie Young's fantasy points? Yeah, we touched on that. I mean, she's on fire, man. She's shooting like over 50%. from the field. So, and that includes a lot of 3-point shots too. Yeah,
She's been getting more assists lately too.
yeah,
See that eating away at Gray's assist opportunity.
yeah. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, all of them are gonna keep racking up assists if they all keep shooting this well. So, yeah, if you want to ride that train, that hot train, definitely get it. But Connecticut, the Suns, man, their defense scares me at times when they really want to clamp down. Courtney Williams kind of reminds me of like a Pat Bev, like pesky hustle defender, and Heidemann stepping in her new role with Jones being out for the season as a pretty solid perimeter defender. And then Thomas and Jones are, solid interior defenders. So
It's gonna be interesting.
yeah, it should be a good game to watch in terms of competitiveness and two really good teams in the league.
Yeah.
Do you have a lean on who do you think Vegas wins because they play pretty good at home?
Oh yeah. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. These teams did go the full distance for the playoff series, so they've got some history on each other, and I think that there's enough there to keep the game close. But this could be sneaky, the highest scoring game on the slate.
Yeah, well, I mean, Vegas has it right now as the highest, so it makes sense. 168.
Checks out.
Yeah, I think that's probably could be the game, but I think the game's gonna be Dallas and Sparks. So we'll see what happens. And
yeah, I think that's the last of the questions, unless I miss one.
Yeah, so I'll get a packed open in tradition. What card do you hope we pull?
Somebody from that game, somebody from Connecticut or Vegas. Let's make it real interesting.
All right. We got, oh man. Powers. Minnesota. Oh boy. All right. We got one of your favorite plays. Let's make it the
Kayla Thornton. Okay.
Yeah. And then we got a firework prism. Candace Parker.
Miss Parker. Okay. It's a sign.
It's the green firework card. And Mitchell, who I don't believe is playing for Washington.
Okay.
All right, so Thornton and Candace. I mean, I really do like Candace. I mean, it's definitely a top prop. I know we didn't put her in the card, but I definitely will have exposure.
For sure.
Yeah. So the schedule for this week. I think Friday is the next big 4-game slate. So Eric, if you're around, we could do the duo stream for that, and then we have a 2-game slate mixed in this week as well, right?
Yeah, tomorrow actually.
Okay.
And then we have a massive slate on Sunday, 6-gamer.
Okay.
I'll see what's going on for that. I might be able to do something special since we got the biggest slate of the season so far. But I'll definitely be around for Friday, and if we do anything for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll let you know about tomorrow. Let's see how it goes. I want to look into it more and then see and check with Gunn on his MLB stream. But yeah, let's keep it going this week. I think going forward, see what the community thinks. But I think maybe getting these videos out. I know we miss out on injury news, but getting these videos out earlier could be better for people that miss it and they want more time to take in the content before lock, because we're right now almost at 30 minutes before lock. So there's not much buffer time for people that missed to come in and watch the video. So we'll have to think about that some more.
Yeah, we'll get it worked out.
Yep. But yeah, all right. Appreciate everyone. I got to get to back to building our core list, and then I might hop on the free Discord voice chat to chop things up with everyone. And yeah, thanks, Eric. Appreciate your time, man, and look forward to having more of these videos. And yeah, I think WNBA I'm liking it more and more. I think it has a lot of potential. So
Oh, for sure, man. And good luck tonight. Good luck out there, everybody.
yeah, good luck, guys. Take care.